Thank you so much for tuning into my Planning for Pregnancy webinar. This is Lauren from laurengrogan.yoga, and this webinar is all about nutrition and wellness for preconception, pregnancy, and beyond. I always enjoy putting together webinars for health and wellness, and I must say I had the most fun putting this one together because there were so many different aspects. And at first I broke it into 3 parts, and as I was developing each one of those parts, I was realizing that I was pretty much repeating myself over and over. And that's really why I merged this into just one webinar, because what you can practice preconception, during pregnancy, and postpartum, you can pretty much do in each of those stages. So obviously each stage is special and different in its own way, but for the most part, everything that we're going to cover will kind of be interchangeable. And I just want to say that this can be a very sensitive topic. The preconception time can be a very challenging and sensitive time for many women. So I hope that I can deliver this as compassionately as possible. And I just want to say right from the start that I'm no expert in this area, but I am a holistic health coach and yoga teacher, and using my knowledge as a health coach, nutrition-wise, and my own experience is what I'm going to share with you today during this webinar. And I encourage you to take some notes, and the most important thing is to, take in this information, see what resonates, see what works for you, but ultimately, you know best, and you know your body best. So before we jump into the first slide, I just want to remind everybody that the beginning of this webinar is not so much about the foods that we eat. We will get to that part, and it's a big part of this webinar, but it's important to remember that nutrition isn't always about food. There are other forms of nourishment, and we kind of neglect those areas because it's easier to just have control over the foods that we eat. So I really want to target those areas of our life where we can focus a little more attention, because it is just as important as the food that we consume. So the first slide is practicing self-care, making yourself the priority. This cannot be, I can't emphasize this enough. As women, we are overworked, we wear many hats, we take on a lot of roles, we do lots and lots of things, and we tend to make others the priority and take care of others, and we don't spend as much time taking care of ourselves. So it is a very important time to say and embrace that this time of your life, whether you're trying to conceive, whether you're pregnant, or wherever you are in this journey, that at this point in your life, it's time to turn inward and to really focus on you. And that is not a selfish thing. It's a very important thing. And it's a time to set boundaries. So time has the word me in it. A lot of the time, most of us say we don't have time to take care of ourselves, and it's a part of the word. You are a part of that word, so making that me time. Attitude is everything. So we're going to hit on this a few times throughout this webinar. Our attitude, we can shift it to a place, to a happier place. When we have a thought in our mind, every cell in our body hears that thought. So ask yourself, are my cells hearing what I want them to hear? If they hear negative talk, think of how the cells are going to react. But if they hear a positive dialogue within your head, think of how they'll respond. Affirmations, something else that we'll hit on as we move along. These are wonderful, again, at any of the stage that you are in right now, and they can change, but they can help to keep that attitude in a more positive one. Movement is another really important part of preconception, pregnancy, and postpartum. Exercising ignites a healthy hormonal response within us, but we have to be sure that we find what is best for us. Not too much, not too intense, not too mild. Walking is the best physical activity that we can practice. Yoga and prenatal yoga. Yes, I'm going to recommend yoga because I'm a yoga teacher. However, if you are pregnant and looking to start a prenatal class and you have not already been practicing yoga, it may not be the best thing to do. Depending on who you talk to with your teachers, that you find maybe a very gentle one, but you may be better off kind of sticking to something else. Otherwise, yoga is a wonderful practice to open up that pelvic area, to invite space, to conceive. It is wonderful while you are pregnant to create more space for the baby to grow, and to help that healthy positioning before birth. And after birth, it can be very stress relieving and a wonderful way to stretch out the tension that your body just experienced. Belly dancing and dancing is something that's very primal. I feel like in our culture, there is not enough emphasis on dance as there is in other cultures. It's a very feminine practice. So even if you have to, shut the door and turn on a couple of your favorite songs and just dance by yourself because you feel silly, do it. It's really great for your body. It's very feminine, very primal. A wonderful way to get a workout in. Swimming is a lovely full body workout. Lightweight training, especially while you're pregnant, that lightweight training will help to kind of build up your shoulders and just kind of prep your body for birth. Low impact cardio. I put low impact just because high intensity is not always the answer. And it's especially not the answer after you give birth. I feel like it's a very sad and unhealthy way of thinking after we conceive a baby, carry out a pregnancy, birth a baby. There's all this pressure to lose the pregnancy weight, lose the baby weight. And it's, I realize that it's a lot easier said than done to not worry about it, but there should be more celebration around the fact that your body just did that. And we need to have a lot more patience with our body and give it the time it needs to recover and to repair. And maybe it'll go back and maybe it will be forever changed. But either way, we need to be a little more gentle around that topic because yeah, our body is going to be different after we birth a baby. And we shouldn't shame ourselves or be working out like crazy to lose the weight. Qigong is another lovely stress relieving practice. It's very slow movements, incorporating the breath while it helps to balance the chakras. The bar method is very challenging, but a great exercise to build the pelvic floor muscles. Managing stress. This coincides back with that self-care element that we first went over. Stress is a normal part of our lives, but we need to practice ways to manage it. Meditation is a wonderful way to manage stress. Many clients and students come to me and say, I can't meditate, my mind is too busy, I can't sit still. And I always laugh because that's exactly why you should be meditating. And that's normal. We are human. And as humans, we have what's called a monkey mind. Our brain just hops from one thought to the next. And we're busy. We're busybodies. We want to just move, and we can never just be present. And that's really the trick here with meditation, is to just keep practicing. And even if it's just for a minute or two a day of sitting still, of focusing on your breath, it's a very important practice that will help bring you into your body trying to conceive during that time, certainly during pregnancy, and especially when you're a new mom. I mentioned hypnobirthing, and there's calm birthing, there's mindful birthing. These are also other tools, workshops that you can take that will help. It's along the lines of meditation. So breath work, pranayama in yoga, learning how to breathe can help to reduce your stress level. It's very important that we target our stress. You know, we're gonna skip to the food in a little bit, and yeah, you know, we'll go over some of the healthiest foods that you can eat. But if your stress level is high, that's going to hinder your ability to conceive. It's going to hinder the pregnancy and your birth experience, and then you know what you experience as a new mom and breastfeeding, postpartum, all of that. Stress is going to put a damper in all of that, and it's not about just living a stress-free life, because that's not practical. Again, it's using tools that you can learn to reduce your stress as much as possible. Learning how to breathe. back to those affirmations. So examples of this, I'll give you a couple of the examples that I used throughout my journey. During that time of preconception, I began a preconception diet about a year and a half before I conceived. And with that, I said, you know what? I not only have to change the way I'm eating, but I have to change the way I'm thinking. So every morning I would sit in just a very brief meditation, and I would have my hands down, on my lower abdomen, and I would say things like, I can do this. My body was meant to do this. I am fertile. I trust my body. Very affirming and strong sentences. When I became pregnant, I switched my affirmations, and it was more like, I am a strong woman. My pregnant body is beautiful. I know how to take care of myself during pregnancy. I make myself a priority. I am happy, healthy, and pregnant. And then while I was actually birthing my baby, I had my own affirmations as well. Those were a little more personal, but again, very affirming, very grounding. And then postpartum, the affirmations that I still use at times to just help myself relieve some stress and remind myself of my strength is, I can do this. I am a strong body, a strong woman. I know how to take care of myself as a new mother. I am a good mother. Things like that just affirm what I want to hear. So creating some affirmations, staying in the present, never writing an affirmation saying, I will do this. It's always about right now, even if you are not that. Just say that you are and keep saying it, and just stay very positive. Again, you want your cells to hear that. Your body will listen. When you tell your body things, it will listen. It's very complicated and very profound. So utilizing the power of our mind. Saying no more often. This is so important. As women, we do too much. We commit ourselves to way too many things. We have way too many responsibilities. And this is the time of our life where we need to turn inward. We need to make it more about ourselves, and that's okay. With that being said, because we're giving ourselves more time, there are going to be other aspects of our life that we are just not going to be able to keep up with anymore. So I like to encourage people to write down all the things that you're doing. Where is your energy going? And what can you let go of at this point of your life? And how can you do less? Doing less, not more. Exactly. That's what it's all about. Less is more. Make rest a priority. Okay, so this is a big one. Sleep is such a blessing. It is just as important as food. I'm going to say that again. Sleep is just as important as food. It's a lot easier said than done, because if you're stressed, you might have issues with sleep. When you're pregnant, you may experience some issues with sleep. After you have the baby, you may experience some issues with sleep. all you can do is just keep on making it a priority, keep on carving out the time to get a nap in, to shut your blinds, get blackout curtains, turn the TV off, skip those TV shows, instead of catching up on them, just go to bed. Whatever you need to do to just get more rest. I like to keep like a lavender lotion next to my bedside, and sometimes I'll just massage it into my feet before bed. I really enjoy diffusing a sleep oil blend in my diffuser next to my bed in the bedroom. I declare a no TV rule after a certain time in the bedroom. And I also am always sure to turn my phone onto airplane mode so that there's no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth signals kind of floating through the air that will further disrupt my sleep. I just want to mention a few of the importances of sleep before we move on. So again, it's just as important as food. It affects our cravings and our appetite. It improves our immune system. It impacts mood and weight. It curbs inflammation. It enhances brain function. It boosts attention and focus. And it reduces stress. Journaling. This is another lovely thing to keep next to your bedside. It could be another part of your nighttime routine just to kind of wind you down from a long day. I always like to encourage people to just write 5 to 10 things that they're grateful for before they go to bed at night, or even before you wake up in the morning. Or just journal out your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings. Get it out of your head, get it out of your body. Those feelings, those thoughts, again, can harbor within our body. And this is a time of letting go and getting rid of what we no longer need and inviting in a new life. Spending time in nature. So this is a really important thing that we tend to forget about because we're indoors, we work indoors, we are inside a lot most of the winter because we're in the Northeast. But taking a walk outside, doing a workout, throwing your yoga mat outside, going for a swim, whatever it may be, just getting out in our natural environment can be very grounding for our system because we are creatures of nature. We forget that. And smiling. This may seem like a silly one, but it's very important because it's incredible how just turning the two corners of your mouth up, even just slightly, it changes the way that we think. It's hard to walk around with a smile and think about negative things and to be negative. And I'm sure that you've noticed that if you are in a public place and you're smiling and someone looks at you, they usually smile too, or vice versa. If you see somebody smiling and you catch their eye, you usually smile as well. So they're very contagious, and it's an important thing to spread happiness, to be happy. And I always like to think of my son. I want him to grow up, and when he thinks of his mom, I want him to have an image of me in his mind where I'm smiling. So I always try to smile for him, and it's just a very easy and lovely practice to help relieve some stress. Dropping expectations. This is something that I am still trying to work on, but I think it's easy for us as women growing up, watching all of these fairy tales and just thinking that we're going to meet this perfect person and we're going to live happily ever after. And at a certain age, we're just going to have a baby and then have another one. Like there's all this planning and these expectations and, I'm going to have a great pregnancy and I'm going to have the perfect child. And it's just all of these thoughts are really great, but sometimes they're not practical. And it's about dropping our expectations and embracing what is. And it's really hard and it's really challenging, but it's important. And I feel like being a new mom, my son is constantly teaching me that lesson because, I'll have a plan and I'll have an idea of what I want our day to look like. And he usually throws a wrench in there and I just have to roll with it. And it's a big lesson and it's something important that we all need to just remember. Reducing toxins. We want to first clean up our diet. We'll touch on this and then revisit it. So most of the foods in the standard American diets, the standard American diet, are anti-nutrients. That will promote infertility, not fertility. The lack of nutrients causes deficiencies in any body, but especially in a mother that is growing a baby and a postpartum, a breastfeeding mom. It can cause low energy, depletion. We need to flood our system with nutrients, not become deficient in them. So a way to clean up the diet is to go organic, both in the crops that we eat and the animal foods that we consume. With produce, download the app if you haven't already from the environmental working group, The Dirty Dozen, because that will give you the list of the dirtiest crops, but then it'll also list a lot of other crops that you don't have to buy organic. And then when it comes to animal foods, this is where you want to buy the best quality. Definitely organic, pasture-raised animals, grass-fed, grass-finished, because animals are just another creature and they have hormones and they have stress hormones if they weren't raised properly. They may have been pumped with antibiotics or additional hormones. When we eat those animals, we take in those stress hormones, we take in those antibiotics. We don't want that. When we eat sick animals, we will become sick ourselves. Reducing sugar. So this goes for anybody, anywhere, at any stage of life. Sugar is going to create more problems than not. So reducing your sugar consumption as best you can will certainly help with fertility while you're pregnant and certainly postpartum. Quitting alcohol, caffeine, and smoking. These are very important. During the preconception stage, if you're out and you have a glass of wine here or there, that's fine. But if you are having a glass of wine every night or even a few times a week, you may want to cut back. Caffeine is a drug, and we have to remember that. Just because there's a coffee shop on every corner and it's just what everybody does in the morning, that doesn't mean that it's okay or that it's healthy. And obviously smoking, we want to quit. Avoiding white flour, GMOs, aspartame, usually that's found in gum, hydrogenated oils, trans fats, preservatives, MSG, artificial flavors, corn syrup, etc. These are foods, these are where those anti-nutrients are. These are the foods that are going to promote infertility, not fertility. These will hinder your pregnancy. It will make it much more uncomfortable. And postpartum, it will just further deplete you and not have you feeling well. Reducing toxins, continuing to household cleaners, cleaning up your lifestyle. So switch to natural cleaning. These household cleaners, also a lot of the things that surround us, our rugs, our furniture, even our clothing, things are off-gassing, and there's these items that contain xenoestrogens, which are basically estrogen mimicking hormones that throw off our hormone balance. And we are ready, because of environmental toxins and just the world that we live in, plastics, all that, our hormone balance is already compromised because of stress. It's not just about the environment that we live in. Because of our stress, the foods that we eat, our hormones are thrown off of their delicate balance. So it's not about being perfect, but it's just a matter of looking at our life and saying, where can I kind of clean up areas? So switching to natural cleaning supplies. Reducing environmental toxins. So calling your town, seeing if they fluoridate your water. If they do, you can always buy a Berkey water filter. You can get the fluoride filters that attach to it. It's a very pretty filter that you can keep somewhere in your kitchen. Fragrances, room sprays, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, microwaves, anything that's going to actually be sending a signal through the air. Just because we can't see them doesn't mean that it's not affecting us on some level. We don't want to drive ourselves crazy, but we just want to be aware and say, okay, where can I make some changes? Switching from plastic to glass, avoiding BPAs. And using natural personal care products, cosmetics, deodorants, perfume, oral care, lotions, hand sanitizers, toothpaste. Just mentioning a few, so it's something like hand sanitizers, you'd think that that might be a really great thing, but Purell and those antibacterials contain a neurotoxin. So we don't want that neurotoxin seeping in through our skin, going into our bloodstream. We don't want to have that exposed to our baby, our unborn baby. Deodorants contain aluminum that, again, is brought into our bloodstream and built up in the system. Perfume we can always switch that to an essential oil. Cosmetics can be pretty harmful, so switching to a more natural line. Toothpaste that contain fluoride, all these little things where you can just start to kind of clear out your personal care products. And I remember doing this years ago, and it was upsetting because almost everything I had was pretty toxic. And then I started fresh and just bought new products, but I realized I didn't need as many products. It was a very interesting thing that happened, and I don't have as much as I used to. And what I do have it's really nice, and it's nice quality, and it's really all I need. So it's an interesting thing what happens when you start to kind of clear out. Okay, so let's get to the food part. When it comes to our nutrition, we want to optimize it. We want to eat nutrient-rich foods. This begins in that preconception stage. It continues throughout pregnancy, and it continues postpartum as we are new moms, especially breastfeeding. When it comes to food, it is all about improvement. It's not about perfection. It's always about doing the best that you can, never about being perfect. When you find yourself obsessing about the foods that you're eating, just scale it back and remember that you don't want any added stress. So just do the best that you can in whatever situation that you're in and be happy with that. When you are pregnant, you are not eating for two like everybody says. It is not a free pass to just eat whatever you want at all. You are eating to nourish a developing baby, all while keeping your body equipped with what it needs to thrive. This is very important that we understand this. I love deconstructing cravings for anybody, but I find it very fascinating for the pregnant woman because our body is always speaking to us through cravings, but especially during pregnancy, because not only is your body in need of certain vitamins, minerals, nutrients, but the growing fetus is also. So the cravings, the erratic cravings that a lot of pregnant women go through, they are very real and they have very specific reasons for them. All the more reason to eat a whole, natural, real foods diet that is very broad and kind of covers all of your bases so that you don't have as many cravings. Focus on eating well, not on weight. Going back to what I mentioned in the beginning, how we are really focused on, am I gaining too much weight during pregnancy, and how do I let this weight go after I have the baby? If you can shift your mind to thinking, how can I just nourish my body? How can I just eat well and take care? I know it's really hard, but maybe even making it one of your affirmations. Okay, so let's start with hydrating properly. Dehydration is actually linked to preterm labor. When you're pregnant, it can help to ease morning sickness. It replenishes the amniotic fluid. It prevents constipation. So typically we want to take our body weight, divide that in half, and that's approximately how many ounces of water per day that your body should be taking in. I always like to add a little pinch of sea salt to water. It just helps the body assimilate that water, and replaces electrolytes. You can barely taste it. But sipping on herbal teas, that includes ginger, peppermint, dandelion leaf, red raspberry leaf, nettle, which is a very healthy tea, tulsi tea. Tulsi is lovely when you're in the preconception stage. It's an adaptogenic herb, so it helps to balance hormones and keep the immune system healthy and relieve stress. And as a new mom, I love having my tulsi tea every morning. Red raspberry leaf is a uterus toner, so that's something you can enjoy at any stage. And the ginger and peppermint is lovely while you're pregnant, especially if you're dealing with some morning sickness. And you want to eat water-rich foods. So water-rich foods can be peppers, cucumbers, grapefruits, berries, celery, radishes, tomatoes, watermelon, dark leafy greens, anything that is just rich with water, soups, stews, things like that. Okay, nourishing with vegetables. Notice how I don't say fruits and vegetables. Not that there is anything wrong with fruits. They are amazing. They contain essential minerals and vitamins. But I want to put more of an emphasis on vegetables because it's easier for us to get fruit down. It's sweet, it's tasty, but vegetables not as much, and they are really missing in our diet. But they contain fiber, which can help to keep you regular. You want to look at vegetables as almost like a washcloth that goes through your intestines and just kind of washes away any impurities. Have a detoxifying element to them. They clear the bodies of impurities. It's a lot easier said than done to just say, go eat more vegetables. But every time that you go to the food store, just try to get one new vegetable or a different vegetable that you usually don't get. Maybe it's just getting a bunch of beets for this week. And then next week, it's a head of broccoli. And the following week, maybe it's broccoli greens, whatever it may be. But take that vegetable home. Google is your best friend when it comes to this. And just, say beet recipe and see what comes up and see what you feel like throwing together. Cauliflower recipe. You can eat them raw. You can stir fry vegetables. You can roast them, blend them, put them into soup. You can throw them in your slow cooker. You can steam them, saute them, blanch them. At the end of the day, you want to eat a rainbow. Your cart should be beautiful. The colors should be vibrant, and those colors should be coming from your food, not from packages. Before we go to protein, um, I want to emphasize the importance of seaweed. In other cultures, they have pregnancy and postpartum, my goodness, I'm sure even preconception rituals and practices where they create these recipes and soups for the pregnant or postpartum mother, and a lot of them contain seaweed because they know how nutrient dense that seaweed is and how healing it is for a mother who is going through, experiencing all that she is during this time. So getting in seaweed, you can use some dulse flakes. They're very easy. It kind of looks like fish food, but it's easy to throw on your eggs, to throw on a salad. You can have those seaweed snacks, which are actually like little seaweed chips. They're super tasty. There's all different flavors. Sushi is wrapped in nori, so you can actually snack on nori leaves. It's just another way to get it down. I like to actually wrap my sandwiches. Instead of using a wrap, I'll use a nori wrap. And it's just a nice way to get in your greens. So sushi, I mean, seaweed. Seaweed is something that is really important to get in there with those vegetables. Okay, so we want to satiate with protein. Protein is the building blocks of the human body. It is so important. I do not think that all proteins are created equal. I think that there is a difference between vegetable proteins and animal proteins. So it's really important about you experimenting and seeing, are you full from a few eggs? Or are you full from a handful of nuts? Are you full from a palmful of fish? or do beans satiate you? So kind of experiment there and see how it works for your body. Protein transports nutrients and oxygen to the cells, to your uterus, and to the placenta. That's why it's important at any point. It keeps you fuller longer, and it stabilizes your blood sugar levels so that you will not be craving as much sweet. You want to opt for organic, pasture-raised animals that were grass-fed, preferably grass-finished. I usually don't work in numbers, but some people really like to put a number to things, so I just mentioned you want to shoot for about 80 plus grams of protein per day. You want to fuel with healthy fat. Healthy fats do not make us fat. It's fats like trans fats and sugar and bad oils and refined foods that have the harmful fats in them that make us fat. Healthy fats are going to satiate us. They are going to fuel our brain. They are going to they're going to help to balance our hormones in our body. They are needed for healthy hormone production. Healthy fats also aid in your baby's brain and organ development, why it's so important to eat them while you're pregnant. You want to opt for eating whole eggs. It always breaks my heart when I hear people that eat egg whites instead of the whole egg. An egg is a perfect food from nature. It's like nature's multivitamin. We do not have to worry about the cholesterol. We do not have to worry about the fat. In fact, eggs contain choline, and choline is something that many of us are very deficient in. And when we experience morning sickness, choline deficiency may be the reason. So anyway, really eating those whole eggs, coconut oil, full fat coconut milk, whole organic milk if you're consuming dairy, grass-fed butter, grass-fed ghee, nice pastured lard, avocados, nuts, seeds, dark chocolate, fatty fish, red palm oil. These are all examples of healthy fats. Extra virgin olive oil obviously is a healthy fat. I always recommend my clients to use it cold though. When you start to heat olive oil, it damages it and it's very beneficial. So using it for salads and stuff like that is an excellent way to get in that healthy fat. Okay, so using spices to naturally flavor, to sweeten and spice your food, it's great because you're not depriving yourself of any flavor. And they also have their own benefits as well, the herbs that you're using. So stocking your pantry with a variety of spices and seasonings, swapping your sweeteners for maybe some coconut sugar, some raw local honey, very beneficial. Liquid stevia if you like that taste. And don't forget that you can always just mash your favorite fruit and add that as a sweetener to whatever you're trying to sweeten. Using a high quality sea salt, like I mentioned earlier, sea salt contains minerals that our body actually needs. And a nice high quality sea salt will actually benefit our health, our heart, rather than hurt it. Like we're told that when there's heart issues, you know, you want to avoid salt, but not sea salt. Sea salt we need to be consuming. And cinnamon should be your best friend, because cinnamon not only will sweeten your food, but it will help to balance your blood sugar. Eating probiotic rich foods. This is always important, but more so during this time of your life. A healthy gut equals a healthy body. And a lot of the times when we're experiencing other issues with our body, it's because the health of our gut is compromised. This may be hard to connect the dots for you, because if you've got a chronic disease or some kind of an illness that has nothing to do with your belly, you might not see the correlation, but more often than not, it is related back to the health of your gut. 70% of our immune system is in our belly. So we want to make sure that we are keeping that inner ecosystem of our belly very healthy and happy. And introducing probiotics, which are healthy bacteria, will help assist this. It will help to avoid illness, constipation. It can actually reduce the risk of ear infection and illness in the first few years of your baby's life. It can help to keep you healthy and not as sick as often. Probiotics are best obtained through high quality supplements, but of course, I always recommend getting them through food first. Probiotics, they're being marketed all over the television and in magazines, so it's really easy to just say, oh, I'm taking a probiotic pill, I'm good to go, but that's just a backup. It's probably not even doing that much. The food is really going to contain the majority of that healthy bacteria, and your body really knows what to do with it. So food is always best, but fermented foods, fermented vegetables, kimchi, sauerkraut, that's where that healthy probiotic bacteria is going to be. Kefir, which is like a yogurt drink, tempeh, fermented soy, and miso paste. It's a really easy thing to add to soups and to flavor things, dressing. Kombucha, probiotic drink. But adding in those probiotic rich foods on a daily basis is something that is really, really great for overall health. Okay, so like I mentioned, food is best, but supplementing is a sure way to get enough nutrients for you and your baby, your growing baby, or if you're breastfeeding. Omega-3s. This is krill oil and or fermented cod liver oil. A really nice way to get in your omega-3s as well is back to seaweed. Fish just don't magically contain seaweed. They eat algae and they eat seaweed from the ocean floor. So they contain loads of omega-3s. So getting in that seaweed. Sardines are also a lovely way of getting in your omega-3s. Maybe I should say easy way, not lovely. I think they're lovely because I like them, but not everybody likes them. But they're easy, and they're in a can. You can just throw them in your bag for work, or if you're on the road, whatever it may be. Very nutrient dense, loaded with omega-3s and fat. Vitamin D3. So you want 1,000 units for every 25 pounds of your body weight. Folate, vitamin B9, about 800 micrograms. So there's this emphasis on taking folic acid when we are in our childbearing years. But folic acid is actually the synthetic form of folate, vitamin B9. So we want the original thing. We want the folate. And if you were previously on birth control, it's important to know that birth control is a folic acid blocking drug. So you may be extremely deficient in this after coming off of it, even if it is a few years later. So you must figure out the proper folate for your body. And just on this topic, I am in no way, shape, or form an expert in this area, but I encourage you, especially if you're having some issues with infertility, to be tested to see if you have the MTHFR gene mutation. This doesn't allow your body to assimilate folic acid, so it's important to understand that that may be the issue, and then working with a practitioner to help work through that. So B vitamins, B12 and or B complex. These are great for energy, for stress relief. And iron. Iron can be found in red meat, grass-fed liver, a variety of fruits and vegetables, especially green vegetables. And I think it's so cool that you can actually get your iron from cooking with a cast iron pan. And a cast iron pan, it may be expensive and cumbersome, but it's a pan that you'll have for the rest of your life. Continuing with our supplements, magnesium. I find that oil is the easiest, so you can actually just find a spray, and I like to rub it on my belly, especially while I was trying to get pregnant, during my pregnancy, and now I just, out of habit, I just still do it. It's a gentle practice, self-care after I get out of the shower, but it's also, I'm absorbing the benefits of the magnesium through my skin. Magnesium, it'll help with inflammation. It will help with morning sickness. It will help with any leg cramps or anything. So it's nice. And you can also take magnesium citrate, which will help with stress relief and maybe help assist with going to the bathroom a little bit, helping you to sleep better. Coconut oil. When you are pregnant, you can have about a quarter of a cup per day, that's a lot of coconut oil. So you certainly don't have to do that, but you can at least strive for, at any point, 2 tablespoons per day. I like to make some of my homemade chocolate that gets in that coconut oil, and I actually keep it in the freezer, and a few times a day I'll just kind of pop out a square or 2, and it's just loaded with that coconut oil. It's really tasty. Vitamin C, I break it down by trimester. The first trimester, 2,000 units, the second, 4,000, third, 6,000. But really at any stage, vitamin C is really important for us to be making sure that we're getting enough of. And we can't just go to the store and just grab whatever vitamin C is on the shelf, because a lot of them are just synthetic. So finding a good natural vitamin C supplement, my favorite is Pure Synergy. And it's actually made from tons of berries and different foods and fruits that are very vitamin C rich. So your body can easily assimilate that vitamin C. Collagen. So you usually hear about collagen for your skin, but this is actually collagen that you would consume, and the collagen would literally be working from the inside out. It is in bone broth, it's in gelatin, or you can actually purchase collagen powder. And when you purchase collagen powder, you want to make sure that it is from grass-fed organic cows or animals. I recommend Vital Proteins or Great Lakes Gelatin. They're from happy, healthy cows. And bone broth, you can either make your own, you can purchase it, but it's very rich in collagen. Collagen is going to heal your gut. It's going to reduce inflammation. It's going to cleanse your skin. It's going to brighten your skin. It will make your skin more elastic. Um, it's it's important to get your collagen. It'll help to build your bone strength. It's it's a lovely, lovely product if you're getting the powder. Otherwise, trying the bone broth, however you can get it in. Selenium. Many of us are selenium deficient. So this is such a cool trick, just taking 2 to 3 Brazil nuts and either throwing them into your smoothie every day or into your trail mix or just eating them right out of the jar. Just getting in 2 to 3 Brazil nuts each day is enough that you need for your daily dose. So that's just an easy way to get in that selenium. Prenatal vitamin. Notice how I put this last and not first, because I feel like when we think of being pregnant, right away it's okay, I need to just take a prenatal vitamin and I'm good. I'm taken care of. And no, no, not at all. It's all about what we just discussed with making sure that your diet is rich in nutrients in every way, shape, and form. It's about supplementing wherever you can. And then it's about taking that prenatal vitamin. It's not the end all be all. It's just something else to be taking as a backup. Some really nice brands are New Chapter, Garden of Life, Rainbow Life, Emerald Labs, Super Nutrition, Innate Response, Pure Synergy, and I put Smarty Pants just because I think they're a really fun prenatal vitamin. I always have a bottle of them along with my regular prenatals because I like to switch it up every few days or so. If I'm having a sweet craving, the Smarty Pants are really tasty. They're like little gumdrops, but they are non-GMO. They are made with sardines and anchovies, so they're nutrient rich, but they're tasty at the same time. So it's just kind of something fun to throw in the mix. So we're really just touching the surface with all of this, and I don't have the time that I wish I did to talk about all of this. I'm just briefly going through all of these, but you may want to pause and just kind of jot this down or really take it in. But there's folate, calcium, iron, lutein, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, vitamin E, and again, there's that choline. So these are the why we need these. And in that preconception stage, you want to flood your system with all of these so that your body is like, all right, cool, I'm ready to make a baby. When you're pregnant, you want to be flooding your system with all of these because you want to be supporting your body, supporting the growing fetus with whatever it needs. Your baby is taking from your body while you're pregnant. So all the more time to eat that nutrient dense food. It's not about just sitting around eating ice cream, potato chips, and having crappy food. I know you want that, but it's really important to find the alternatives. Oh, and then postpartum. Yeah, so postpartum, you continue to need those, whether you're breastfeeding or not. So if you're breastfeeding, obviously you absolutely need all those because you're still feeding your baby. So whatever you're taking in, your body is using to feed your baby. But even if you're not breastfeeding, your body is still healing, and not even if you beyond that healing stage, you need to be a functioning mother, and being a mother takes so much out of you. So if you're nutrient deficient, then you're just going to be further deprived. When you're flooding your system with all of this, you're going to have the energy, you're going to have that, the clarity, the mental clarity to take care of yourself, your family, your baby, whatever it may be. And then this is where you can find all of these vitamins, nutrients, minerals. It's all in food. It's just eating that wide variety of food. And I mentioned liver a couple times throughout this page and then in a few other slides before this, because liver is one of the most nutrient dense foods that we could consume. We want to strive to find an organic liver whenever possible. Chicken liver is very mild compared to a calf or a cow liver, so it's a lot easier to consume. And I actually have a recipe for a very simple liver smoothie shot that I've been taking for years now that I would love to share with you if you're interested. And luckily, you can't even taste the liver. So certainly a really easy way to get it down. And now, being a mom, I make it for myself, and then I just use a little spoon and I spoon it right to my son, and he loves it just as much as I do. And we both get to reap the benefits. So certainly reach out if you would like that. So kind of winding down, coming back to what I originally said about nourishing the other aspects of your life, keeping calm, reducing your stress, thinking positive instead of negative, creating those affirmations that work for you, that work for your body, that work for wherever you are in your journey. I think it's really important that we have patience with ourselves and that we use this time, that we look at this time as a very special time, a very sacred time. And I wish you the best with wherever you are. If you have any other questions, if you have questions about brands or supplements or recipes, foods, whatever other questions you may have that I didn't cover throughout this webinar, I actually offer a Planning for Pregnancy wellness session, which is about an hour long, where we can discuss where you are with things, and we can certainly go over any questions that you may have. But again, I wish you the best on your journey. Have patience with yourself, take care of yourself, take care of your baby, and stay well. Thank you so much.